Cartoons are an inventive way of presenting satire and criticizing something in popular culture, or whatever the target is intended for. The main purpose is to make us think, but also stimulate and entertain us at the same time. The video I'm going to be talking about is Ed, Edd and Eddy in 2017 by Antunes. However, this will not only be an analysis of this video, but mostly a criticism of its misguided and ill-informed message about technology and youth culture. Don't get me wrong, the video itself is insanely well made and captures the feel of its source material incredibly well. I would have mistaken this for a reboot teaser or something because the animation style is damn near perfect. I just feel I need to address this video as it just came out recently, about 9 days ago, and I feel it deserves some commentary. So let's just deconstruct this 1 minute and 19-second video. So I'm not going to do a play-by-play walkthrough of the video because it's so short and I feel that would just artificially lengthen the runtime of this video. So to not insult your intelligence, there's a link in the description below this video. Or it's probably in the sidebar somewhere, as it is in the related videos because I tagged it. It's only 1 minute and 20 seconds long, just watch it, you lazy assholes. Let's just jump right into this. So obviously the video is attacking the constant use of cell phones and technology while using Ed, Edd and Eddy as a vehicle for its commentary. I'm going to give credit where it is due. This is an ingenious idea. If you haven't heard or watched Ed, Edd and Eddy before, 3 boys named Edward who tried to conduct scams on the other town's kids in order to buy jawbreakers. They usually never succeed, ever. The show's main themes and motifs is about growing up and being imaginative and inventive. Generally, it's just about the wonders of childhood and summer vacation. Something to note is that this was before the advent of smartphones and their daily use. The point of this video is to see what the Ed, Edd and Eddy universe would be like with smartphones. The main criticism that this video presents is obviously, everyone is attached to their smartphones and not experiencing their childhood the way maybe I would or the creator has. And that is where one of the main problems lies. If you're above 21, please be completely transparent with yourself here. When you see a child or somebody younger doing or referencing something in today's popular culture, are you more likely to criticize it with no real basis for an argument? I personally do this with my nephews who constantly recite really dumb memes and play Roblox, but I look back to my childhood and realize I wasn't too different. The only real thing that has changed was the way we consume our media. Don't get me wrong, the information and entertainment now is constantly at our fingertips, literally. In this video, they show the cul-de-sac kids as brainless zombies attached to their phones. Even Ralph has a phone, which doesn't make any sense. Why would he have a phone? He was an immigrant who constantly works. Nonetheless, I'm not gonna nitpick. I've seen this message used in other cartoons with the same amount of pretension and not so subtle theming. However, there is always a major flaw in all of these videos' arguments. They portray the smartphone as the villain, and not the media the people consume or the people themselves. This is where the entire argument falls flat, and the video's commentary fails. The video fails to shed light on the media we consume on our phones and technology and jumps right into demonizing it outright. Using Ed, Edd and Eddy furthers this idea because it criticizes how today's youth is experiencing childhood, but does so just by vehemently condemning technology with no real intellectual basis. How we experience childhood and growing up is going to be different for every generation. I grew up dealing with the lambasting of video games and television, and then dealing with the criticism of Web 2.0, like Facebook, MySpace, YouTube. These people are too quick to find a scapegoat for something negative happening. Thus, the immediate focus on the phones being the problem, and not the media that's being consumed by the youth. In the video, we see what they are watching or doing on their phones, and it comes down to exaggeration with most of it. It's played up comedically in the video, but I think it's a missed opportunity to reflect on what we consume on the internet as people. There's more blame to put on the people rather than technology, in my opinion. A point of criticism I agree with in this video is how we can mindlessly entertain ourselves at all times with the access of smartphones and the internet, but I don't necessarily put the blame on technology. I'd like to point to one of the best writers ever in American literature. And that's just in my opinion, by the way. David Foster Wallace wrote a monolith of a novel called Infinite Jest, which is about many things, but what matters the most is that a film in the novel called Infinite Jest is so entertaining that no one else can do anything except watch it. The book is satirical of entertainment and consumerist culture. Here's a few interesting pieces by David Foster Wallace himself on WPR in 1996.
I think the standard agenda of any piece of entertainment is to be as entertaining as possible. The problem with the movie Infinite Jest is that it's lethally entertaining, meaning watching it is so much more fun than doing anything else. Once somebody's watched it once, They pretty much have the spiritual energies of a moth and want to do nothing more than watch it again and again and again until they die of probably dehydration. A lot of something that's interesting to me is a lot of really ecstatic pleasures are linked, interestingly, sort of with death. You know, the book is meant to seem kind of surreal and outlandish at first, and then in sort of a creepy way to seem not all that implausible. And it would seem to me, I mean, at some point in the next 10 or 15 years, we're going to have virtual reality pornography, which I would just invite you to think about, given the level of, you know, people whose lives are ruined just by addiction to sort of video peep show stores now. I mean, what it's going to be like and what sort of resources we're going to have to cultivate in ourselves and in our citizenry to keep from sort of dying on couches. I mean, maybe that sounds silly, but this stuff's going to get better and better and better and better. And it's not clear to me that we as a culture are teaching ourselves or our children, you know, what we're going to say yes and no to. In fact, I think what's going to happen, I don't think it's all that hard to see. What's going to happen is that these are decisions that are going to have to be made, you know, inside us as individuals about what we're going to give ourselves away to and what we aren't. I think you can roll the clock back really thousands of years when you have arguments in Plato about what kinds of pleasures are more worthwhile than others. Part of our problem seems to be, I think, that first of all, that the candy's getting better and better and better. And second of all, that I think somehow we as a culture have stopped or are afraid to teach ourselves that pleasure is dangerous, and that some kinds of pleasure are better than others, and that part of being a human being means deciding how much of active participation we want to have in our own lives. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm anti-TV or anti-entertainment. I just think that it's a really sort of exciting opportunity to decide whether our relationship to the world is going to be fundamentally passive and infantile, or one that's sort of active and hard and takes more work.
There's a lot to dissect here, and I don't think I could have said it better myself. Rest well, David Foster Wallace. So, the main difference between Wallace's sentiment and Antoon's sentiment is where the blame lies. David Foster Wallace wants people to look into themselves to see where to draw the blame and question the validity and usefulness of entertainment we consume. Like he said in the clip, things are just going to get better and better, and it's on us to observe the media we consume and reevaluate it. We have to look at what pleasures will do more harm than good. Antoon's video blatantly just gives the blame to cell phones and technology and isn't even subtle about it. I don't know if there's anything more unapologetically pompous than the background to the credits of this video. I feel that Antoon's could have been way more insightful with his commentary instead of cementing a stupid cliche brought upon by baby boomers and Gen Xers. And don't get me wrong here, this video is spectacularly well done. I don't want to take away the artistic achievement here. I feel it's just completely bogged down by its unoriginal and uninformed message. I'm not the only one that feels this way, as some of the top comments in the video are taking the piss out of it anyway, but I'm glad there's a discussion for this video itself. Well, I'm exhausted now and I should probably get back to the videos I was gonna make, so stay tuned.